You ever notice how the moments that break you are the same moments that wake you up? I'm talking about those seasons where nothing makes sense, where you're trying to breathe but life keeps throwing weight on your chest. When you feel shattered, when you feel like everything you built just fell apart in your hands, that's when most people quit. That's when most people tap out. But I need you to hear me. Pain is not your prison. Pain is your power. It's the birthplace of the version of you that doesn't show up when things are easy. Anybody can be strong when nothing is challenging them. Anybody can smile when everything is going their way, but when life cuts you deep, when your heart is heavy, when your energy is drained and your confidence is gone, that's when you discover the part of you that was never meant to be ordinary. See, most of you look at broken like it's a weakness. You think because you're hurting, you're somehow less. But broken is not the end of you, it's the start of the real you. Diamonds don't shine because they were treated gently. They shine because they were pressured, crushed, cut, and refined. And you might not realize it right now, but the pain you're feeling is shaping you. It's carving out the character you need for the next level. It's chiseling away everything small in you so something bigger can emerge. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. But you're so focused on the breaking that you're missing the becoming. You're looking at the cracks in your life and calling it destruction when really it's construction. Sometimes life has to break your routines, break your comfort, break your patterns, break your ego, even break your heart. Because if it didn't, you would stay exactly where you are. And deep down, you know you were not built to stay there. Deep down, you know something in you wants more, demands more, was created for more. And the only way to get more is to push through what feels impossible. You gotta stop letting pain paralyze you and start letting it propel you. When you feel broken, that's not the moment to lay down, that's the moment to lean in. Because when everything feels like it's falling apart, that is usually the exact moment everything is actually being rearranged for your growth. You don't grow from comfort, you don't grow from calm. You grow from chaos, from challenge, from the nights you had to cry yourself to sleep and still wake up with enough courage to try again. That's the kind of growth that turns ordinary people into giants. And listen, there's a strength inside you that you won't meet until life forces you to. You won't find your deepest grit, your highest discipline, your fiercest drive until you're pushed to the edge. Broken is the doorway, pain is the key, pressure is the teacher. And once you accept that, once you stop running from the hurt and start running through it, you discover a version of yourself powerful enough to change everything. Push, because your pain is not your prison. Your pain is your power. There's a moment we all reach, the moment where your mind whispers, I can't do this. And I need you to understand something real. That moment isn't a wall, it's a door. It's not the end of your journey. It's the beginning of the part that matters. Anybody can keep moving when things are light, when the path is smooth, when the plan is working exactly how they imagined. But the real test, the real separation happens when you hit that breaking point, that place where you're tired, overwhelmed, frustrated, running on fumes, and every part of you wants to stop. That's where your next level is hiding. People think breakthrough comes from motivation, from hype, from feeling good. No. Breakthrough comes from the moment you want to quit the most. Breakthrough comes from the edge, because that edge is where you meet the version of yourself that doesn't back down. The version that refuses to let your old habits, your old fears, your old excuses win anymore. The edge is where you stop negotiating with your greatness and finally say, enough, I came too far to fold now. But most people never see that version of themselves because they stop too early. They surrender to the first sign of discomfort. They retreat at the first wave of adversity. They let the feeling of "I can't" destroy the fact that they absolutely can. They quit 3 steps away from transformation, 2 tries away from progress, 1 moment away from a completely different life. They never push long enough to experience what happens when you go past the point where you thought your strength ended. And hear me clearly, fatigue is not your enemy, doubt is not your enemy, resistance is not your enemy. They are signals, they are indicators, they're telling you you're close. Growth doesn't announce itself with comfort. It announces itself with discomfort, with pressure, with the internal voice that says, "This is too much." That's the alarm clock for your next level. Every legend you admire has stood exactly where you're standing, at the intersection between giving up and going further. They didn't become great because they had more talent or more resources or more support. They became great because when they reached their breaking point, they didn't break. They pushed, they dug deeper, they leaned into the exhaustion, into the fear, into the uncertainty, because they understood that what comes after the breakdown is the breakthrough. And that's what I need you to understand right now. The moment you say, "I can't do this," is the moment you must decide who you're going to be. Are you going to be the person who collapses when it gets heavy, or the person who rises because it's heavy? The pressure you feel is proof that you're being stretched into someone capable of more. The obstacle is not blocking your path. The obstacle is the path. So when your mind screams, "I can't do this," I need you to answer back, "This is exactly why I must." Because your next level lies on the other side of that moment. We live in a world that teaches you to isolate when you're hurting, to hide it, to pretend you're fine, to carry everything on your back like you don't have the right to lean on anybody. But I need you to understand something deep. Broken doesn't mean alone. Just because you're struggling, just because you're overwhelmed, just because you feel worn down to the bone, that doesn't mean you have to fight this battle solo. Even the strongest warriors, the fiercest leaders, the most determined fighters, they all had a circle. They all had someone who helped them breathe when life was suffocating them. The lie is that independence makes you strong. The truth is that connection makes you unstoppable. You can grind on your own, but you can't grow on your own. You can survive by yourself, but you cannot evolve by yourself. And when you feel broken, that's the moment you must reach, not retreat. That's the moment to get around people who refuse to let you drown in silence. People who remind you of the strength you forget you have. People who won't let you quit on something they know you're built for. But here's the problem. Too many of you choose isolation when life hits the hardest. You shut down, you push people away, you hide the pain hoping it'll disappear. But pain kept in the dark grows heavier. Pain spoken in the light grows lighter. You've been carrying a weight that was never meant to be carried alone. You've been trying to heal in places where you won't allow anyone to help you. You're fighting battles without using the weapons standing right next to you. Listen to me. Your circle matters more when you're broken than it does when you're strong. When you're winning, everyone wants to cheer. But when you're hurting, when you're doubting yourself, that's when you find out who's really in your corner. Not everybody deserves access to your struggle, but the right people. They turn your breaking point into a building point. They don't just speak life into you. They hold you up when your legs can't do it on their own. And if you don't have those people yet, you have to build that circle intentionally. Stop keeping company that drains you. Stop giving space to people who only show up when they need something. Get around individuals who push you, who challenge you, who won't accept your excuses, who won't let you shrink when life tries to break you. Energy is contagious. Strength is contagious. Hope is contagious. And sometimes the very thing keeping you from rising is the environment you're trying to rise in. You were not designed to battle brokenness alone. Your healing accelerates when you let people in. Your strength multiplies when your circle aligns with your purpose. When you're shattered, when you're lost, when you feel like giving up, the right people help you remember who you are, and more importantly, who you are becoming. Lean on the people who lift you, because broken doesn't mean alone. There are chapters in your life that you don't want anybody to see. Nights where the silence felt heavier than the pain. Days where you moved through the world like a ghost because your spirit was exhausted, your heart was bruised, and your mind was fighting battles no one knew about. And in those moments, it's easy to believe your story is done. It's easy to think the darkness swallowed the light for good. But I need you to hear me. Your story isn't over. It's being written in the dark. Everybody loves the highlight reel. Everybody loves the victory moment, the glory shot, the part where everything finally comes together. But what they don't see, the part that truly shapes you, is the grind in the shadows, the silent nights when you had to wipe your own tears, the mornings you woke up with fear sitting in your chest, but still found the strength to move. The days where you carried a smile on your face while your soul was trying to figure out how to keep going. That's the real story. That's the part that gives your life weight. That's the part that makes your breakthrough powerful. What you go through in the dark is what becomes someone else's light. You think you're suffering for nothing, but you're not. You think the pain is pointless, but it's not. The chapters you're trying to erase, the heartbreak, the setbacks, the failures, the losses, the disappointments, those are the chapters that someone else will read one day and say, if they made it, I can too. Your struggle becomes somebody's survival guide. Your scars become somebody's blueprint for healing. But none of that happens if you stop writing the moment things get messy. And let's keep it real. Sometimes the dark is the only place where you can truly grow. Sometimes God hides you because he's building you. Sometimes life strips you down because who you were can't carry who you're becoming. Sometimes what feels like isolation is actually incubation. Your next level is forming in a place where no one claps, no one praises, no one sees, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. You're waiting for the light before you move, but you don't realize the light comes because you moved. You're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect confidence, the perfect energy, but perfection has never been a prerequisite for purpose. All you need is willingness. All you need is the courage to take one more step in the dark, trusting that the path will reveal itself as you walk. And when that light finally hits, when the breakthrough finally shows up, every tear, every silent night, every lonely walk, every battle you fought with nobody cheering for you, it all makes sense. You don't appreciate the sunrise unless you've walked through a long night. You don't value the mountaintop unless you've crawled through the valley. And you don't understand your strength until you've survived what tried to break you. Your story isn't over. It's being written in the dark.